Hello everyone, myself M. Preeti Ram, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Business System in Ramco Institute of Technology, Rajapalayam. Today we are going to see the topic software testing, that is particularly black box testing. So initially, what is software testing? Software testing is a process of checking a software application to ensure that it works as expected, is free from errors, meets the user requirements. In simple words, software testing verifies that the software is correct, reliable, and ready to use. Let's see a real-time scenario that makes you understand easily. So first one we can see the online banking application. Here, what is the situation we can give is a bank launches a new online banking system that allows us customer to log in, check balance, transfer money, and pay bills. Since money is involved, even a small error can cause huge loss. So here what are the testing can be performed? So initially they will perform unit testing. So let's see brief about those things. So each module is tested separately in unit testing, that is login module, balance module, fund transfer module. For example, the developer tests whether the login module correctly accepts valid username and password. Next is the integration testing. The connection between modules is tested. For example, login to account details to fund transfer. This ensures that after the login, the correct account is shown and money is transferred from the correct account. Next one is a system testing. The complete banking application is tested as one system. That is, user logins, check balances, and transfer money logs out. The tester check whether all features work together properly. The next one they will check is a security testing. The security is tested for hacking, unauthorized access, and data protection. This ensures that no one can steal users' data or money. As a result, testing ensures that transactions are correct, user data is safe, and the bank can confidently releases the software. This is one of a case scenario for this software testing. Let's move on to the next slide. So what is software testing? So software testing is a systematic process of executing a software system or application with the intent of finding errors or defects, verifying that the software meets specified requirements, validating that the software behaves as expected. So testing ensures that quality, reliability, correctness and performance of software before the delivery. What are the objective of software testing? The main objective of software testing is to ensure that the software works correctly and meets the user requirements. Testing is not about finding errors. It is about delivering quality and reliability and confidence. That is, first one we can see is to find errors, that is defects. The first and most important objective of testing is to find bugs in the software. Every software may contain mistakes in logic, coding, design, user interface. Testing helps in identifying these errors before the software reaches to the user. The next one is to ensure correct functioning. Testing checks whether all features work as expected, input gives correct output, the system follows the requirements. For example, in a banking app, testing ensures that when a money is transferred, the correct amount is debited and credited. Next one is to verify requirements. Testing ensures that the software is building according to the software requirement specification that we can mention as SRS. Each requirement is tested to confirm it is implemented, it behaves correctly. This ensures that the software solves the real problem of the user. Next, we can say to improve the software quality. Testing improves performance, reliability, security, usability. A well-tested software is more stable, faster, and safer to use. The next way we can say is to prevent future failures. Finding errors early prevents. So system crashes, data loss, financial losses, customer dissatisfaction. Testing helps avoid serious problem after the software releases. Next we can say to ensure user satisfaction. Testing makes sure that the software is easy to use, accurate, free from major problems. This builds trust and confidence among the users. Next, to check performance and security. Testing checks how fast the software works, how many users it can handle, how safe the data is. This is especially important for banking, shopping and online application. Next we can say to reduce development cost. Finding a bug after release is very expensive. Testing find error earlier, which saves time, money and effort. The objective of software testing are to ensure that the software is correct, reliable, secure and ready for use. Testing helps deliver a high quality product that meets user expectations. Let's see the types of the software testing. So software testing can be classified based on these techniques. That is testing technique, level of testing, purpose of testing and execution method. So based on execution, there are some types that are manual testing and automation testing. In manual testing is performed by the human testers without using any automation tools. That is testers execute text cases manually, checks the outputs, compare with expected result. It is mainly used for small projects, UI testing and exploratory testing. The next one is an automation testing. Automation testing is performed using the software tools. It is used when same tests need to be repeated. It is used for large projects and used in a regression testing. Automation saves the times and improves the accuracy. And based on the testing level, there are some types. First one is unit testing. Each individual component or module is tested separately, usually done by the developers. For example, testing only the login function. Next one is the integration testing. Testing the interaction between different modules. For example, login module plus database. Next one is system testing. The complete software is tested as one system. Example, testing the full banking application. Next one is acceptance testing. Testing done by a customer to verify if the software meets the requirements. So, based on testing level, there are four types that are unit testing, integration testing, system testing and acceptance testing. Next one is based on testing the approaches. So, there are some types. What are they are? Black box testing, white box testing and gray box testing. In black box testing, tester does not know the internal coding. They focuses on functionality. In white box testing, tester knows the internal code and logic. In gray box testing, combination of both black box and white box technique. The next one is based on purpose. First one is functional testing. It checks whether the software performs required functions. For example, login, registration and payment. Next one is non-functional testing. Checks the quality aspects like performance, speed, security and usability. These are the types of software testing. Here we have already seen that the types of testing based on techniques. There are three types as we already said: black box testing, white box testing and grey box. Let's see what is black box testing. Black box testing is a type of a software testing in which the tester is not concerned with the software's internal knowledge or implementation details, but rather focuses on validating the functionality based on the provided specification or requirements. It is a testing technique in which the internal code and the logic are not known to the tester. Testing is done based on the inputs, output and functional requirements. Types of black box testing. The black box testing can be classified into three main types, that is functional testing, non-functional testing and regression testing. For black box testing, we can see a simple example. Imagine a login form, that is input, and we have an expected output. In input, correct username and passwords are given. So our expected outcome is the login successfully. So what will be the other input? Incorrect username or password. What will be the expected outcome? Error message. So for input, we know the blank fields and the expected output will be the error messages. Tester doesn't care how the validation is coded, only that correct input gives us the correct results. Then what is the objective of black box testing? It ensures software meets user requirements and it detects functional errors and verifies us all input gives correct outputs and it identifies missing functionality and it ensures system behaves as expected under all the conditions. Initially, we will see about the functional testing. Functional testing is a type of a software testing in which the system is tested against the Functional requirements and specification. It ensures that the requirements or specifications are properly satisfied by the application. It checks whether the software does what it is supposed to do based on requirement specification. For example, login functionality, payment processing, and report generation. This testing is not concerned with the source code of the application. Each functionality of the software application is tested by providing the appropriate test input, expecting the output and comparing the actual output with the expected output. This testing focuses on checking the user interface, APIs, database security, client or server application, and functionality of the application under test. Functional testing can be manual or automated. It determines the system's software functional requirements. Functional requirements verifies whether the software function works according to the specified requirements. It focuses on what the system does, as we have already said, then input-output behavior and the business logic. Let's move on to the. And what are the example of functional testing? So some of the example they are login functionality, form validation, database operation, and payment processing. So functional testing. There are some types of functional testing. They are unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and acceptance testing. In unit testing, it tests individual functions or modules. That is black box view of a unit. Integration testing. It tests interaction between the modules. The next one is system testing. Test the complete system as a whole. Acceptance testing. Test whether the system needs user needs, that is alpha testing and beta testing. So next testing is a non-functional testing. It checks quality aspects of software, not functionalities. It includes performance testing, that is software speed and response time. Next one is load testing, software behavior under high load. Next one is stress testing, software under extreme condition. Next one is usability testing, that is ease of use. The last one is security testing, protect data from an unauthorized access. Non-functional testing is a type of a software testing that is performed to verify the non-functional requirements of the application. It verifies whether the behavior of the system is as per the requirement or not. It tests all the aspects that are not tested in functional testing. Non-functional testing checks how well the system performs rather than what it does. It is designed to test the readiness of the system as per non-functional parameter, which are never addressed by functional testing. It is important as functional testing. It is also known as NFT. This testing is non-functional testing of software. It focuses on software performance, usability, and scalability. Let's move on to the next. So as we have already said, the types of non-functional testing, that is performance testing. It checks speed, response time, and stability. Load testing. It checks system behavior under the expected load. Then stress testing. It checks the system behavior under extreme load. Next one is security testing. It identifies the vulnerabilities and threats. So next one is usability testing. It checks user friendliness of the system. The last one is compatibility testing. It checks operation across browsers and devices. Yes. The next testing is regression testing. Regression testing is like a software quality checkup after any changes are made. It involves running tests to make sure that everything still works as it should, even after updates are fixed to the code. This ensures that the software remains as reliable and functions properly, maintaining its integrity throughout its development lifecycle. It ensures that new changes or fixes do not affect existing functionality. It when performed are after bug fixing, after enhancement, and after the updates. So regression means the return of something and in the software field. It refers to the return on a bug. It ensures that the newly added code is compatible with an existing code. In other words, a new software update has no impact on the functionality of a software. This is carried out after a system maintenance operations and upgrades. So, what are the black box test design techniques? They are equivalence class partitioning. That is, it divides inputs into a valid and invalid classes. Second one is boundary value analysis. It tests boundary conditions. Next one is decision table testing, used when multiple conditions exist. The next one is state transition testing. It is used for systems with different states. The next one is use case testing. It is based on the user interactions. So what are the advantages of black box testing? The tester does not need to have more functional knowledge or programming skills to implement the black box testing. It is efficient for implementing the test in a larger system. Tests are executed from the user's or client point of view. Test cases are easily reproducible. It is used to find the ambiguity and contradiction in the functional specifications. So, and what are the disadvantages of black box testing? There is a possibility of repeating the same test while implementing the testing process. Without clear functional specification, test cases are difficult to implement. It is difficult to execute the test cases because of complex inputs at different stages of testing. Sometimes the reason for the test failure can be detected. Some programs in the applications are not be tested. So let's see what is the difference between black box, white box and gray box testing and what are the aspects of that. In first aspect is knowledge of code. In knowledge of code, black box testing do not need any knowledge. So in white box testing, it requires full knowledges, and gray box testing, they have to know about the partial knowledge of the code. The next one is focus. Black box testing focuses on functionality and behavior. White box testing focuses on internal code and logic, and gray box testing focuses on combination of both. Then black box testing performed by testers and QA engineers, that is quality assurance engineers. Then white box testing performed by developers, and the gray box testing performed by tester with some code knowledge. Then black box testing use cases are UI, API and system behavior, and white box testing use cases are code structure and security. And gray box testing use cases are security, functional and logical flaws. Then black box testing approaches are input-output validation. The testing approach for white box testing are code path analysis, and the testing approach for gray box testing is both functional and structural testing. And what are the importance of black box, white box and gray box testing in software development? So black box testing focuses on functionality and user experience. Its role is to ensure software meets requirements correctly. And white box testing focuses on internal code, algorithm and security. Its role is to detect issues and ensures the security. And the gray box testing focuses on combination of functionality and internal structure. Its role is to balance the functional and security testings. And the overall benefit of all those things are comprehensive test coverages, and the roles are ensures the functionality and security. Let's take an example of an online banking application before ending up this lecture. So, online banking application. In this application, allows us the user to log in to their accounts, check their balances, transfers funds, and pays bills. Since the software deals with the financial transaction and sensitive personal information, it is very important that it functions correctly and securely. In black box testing, the tester focuses only on the inputs and expected outputs without knowing how the program is coded internally. The internal logic, algorithm or source code are completely hidden from the tester. The main goal is to verify whether the software looks according to the requirement specified by the user. For example, the login functionality can be tested by providing valid and invalid credentials. When a user enters the correct username and password, the system should allow us access and display the user account details. If the username and password is incorrect, the system should display an appropriate error message. The tester does not need to know how validation logic is implemented in the backend. They only check whether the system responds correctly to the given input. Similarly, The fund transfer module can be tested by providing a valid source and destination account with a specific amount to transfer. The expected outcome is that the transfer should complete successful if the source account has satisfied sufficient balance. If the amount exceeds the available balance, the system should prevent the transaction and displays an error message. Again, the tester does not need to understand how the software detects the balance or updates the account internally. They only observe whether the result matches expectations. The bill payment functionality can be tested by entering a valid bill ID and payment amount. If all information is correct, the payment should succeed and a confirmation should be displayed. If a valid bill ID is provided, the system should reject the payment and show an error. Testers can also test boundary and negative cases such as entering zero or negative amount, leaving mandatory fields empty, or using invalid account details to ensure the software handles all the scenario gracefully. In black box testing, the focus is always on user experience and functional correctness. The tester checks whether the system behaves as expected under normal conditions as well as edge cases. By performing this test, any functional errors, missing features, or unexpected behaviors can be identified and reported to the development team before the software is released. This approach ensures that the banking application is reliable, secure, and user-friendly, minimizing the chances of financial loss or user dissatisfaction. Black box testing is crucial in real-world applications like banking because it validates that the software meets the user requirements without exposing any internal code, logic, or algorithm. I hope you understand very well. Thank you so much. Let's meet in another lecture. Thank you, everyone.